has been very much an unstable ride for BKS and Liberty, but we're getting into the draft. Let's see how much spice is left in the reserves here for and Solari. Let's hear it.
Couple of mid lane bans already, and even though Guigo had that 0-5 game against Robo, Liberty not going to take any chances. They're saying, nope, you don't get that back against SKB. So instead, Grell will be piloting the Ivern. Now, Solari, a few weeks before you arrived, Grevthar did play this champion in the mid lane. I'd be surprised if they went back to that look, but technically it's a flex pick.
Technically it can be flexed to what, 3 positions now? Jungle,
Sure,
support, and mid lane. I haven't seen Ivern mid lane. I have no idea what to even think about it, but I don't think it's going to be mid lane because Tristana, surprisingly, sleeping all the way to B2. Usually you see her being very much prioritizing the first picks, but I don't know what's happening on the other side of the map, because what's happening for Liberty right now is already a lot of range and a lot of poke.
Yeah, you've got poke, you've got late game insurance, and if they lock in this Maokai, you've got very powerful, reliable team fight engaged there with the Nature's Grasp. Nautilus picked up on the other side, so again, with damage being on a Nautilus, something that has a potential to roam, to start fights, that's what I want to see from Keydstars to match the chaos that Liberty's going to throw at them.
Because it's going to be a lot of chaos. I am counting on that from Liberty. But what else do they need in their team right now? Because I'm loving what Liberty are drafting for themselves, but it does feel a little bit incomplete, and it makes me wonder what's going to happen in the support role. Because I know the top lane is going to be super important here, because still the top lane bans are going to come from Liberty, and rightfully so. But what's going to happen on the support role? Because that Varus, the usual issue with the Varus that I'm seeing is that yes, he's very strong, yes, he has a lot of poke, but he really relies on those early game kills, and to get those kills, he needs a good support.
And we'll see how he's built, right? If he wants to go kind of more, lethal tempo on hit, or just poke straight lethality. He's going to have to tear through some shields from the Ivern as well. Top lane bands coming in here. No Rumble, no Jax, no Malphite either. So the Malphite band going to protect Guigo. I wonder what he's got up his sleeve here. I wouldn't be surprised if we got 4 straight top lane bans.
I wouldn't be absolutely surprised, but that really makes me wonder what way, because we have so many top laners already banned out, including the Gwen that was still in the first rotation. So what is what is left for him? Something boring like Renekton or Xante?
Banning out the Aatrox. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, this champion got some love this patch.
Yes.
And indeed, it will be a blinded Renekton. Wow, we went through 5 top laners in the bans. 5.5 if you count, baby, if you count Jace. Now, Guigo, again, we talked about it, and like you said, Keystars have this in their bag. They've got a top lane carry as a possibility. If this was to be locked in here, how do you feel about this for Keystars? And you expressed some doubts about kind of do they invest heavily into the top side, but with a, oh, come on. I do this every time on a hover. I apologize.
I'm fully with you here. I was expecting and hoping it to be Olaf. It would be only the second game for Guigo playing the Olaf, but it would be so interesting, such a great matchup on the top lane. Going into Renekton is not easy, because Renekton and Olaf basically want to do absolutely the same thing here, but now with Na you have a little bit more safety there, because it is going to be hard for Renekton to go all in onto him and kill him on the spot, so you can... They locked in the Queen Seraphine! Oh my god, it's Seraphine mid lane! It's been literal ages since I've seen it, and to give you perspective, I'm coming from, casting from Poland, and back when I just started casting, I had full pink hair, so you can imagine how exactly people have nicknamed me. And since then, every time there was Seraphine locked, people would come to my Twitter and be very happy for me.
Well, I hope you get a lot more joy out of this. We couldn't give you the Shyvana last time around, so hopefully you enjoy the Seraphine. I'd be curious to see if it could go in the bottom lane, but I imagine it's going to go in the mid lane. Grevthar has played this champion when she was more in the meta. Grevthar, known as just having a bunch of weird, wacky picks in his pocket. Again, we talked about the Swain. He busted out Kled in his CBLOL playoff debut into a Sylas matchup. So this guy is, he's got a few tricks up his sleeve. Trajan, we hope you're going to get a spicy draft, and boy, did this deliver.
Yeah, when we got to the Renekton, the Gnar, I thought maybe we were going to have to snooze through this one, but the Seraphine really brought it all together, so thank you very much, BKS, for saving it for us. And it looks like it is going to be that bot lane, so this is actually interesting. I would have preferred to have seen the Seraphine mid, just because Nautilus Tristana is so threatening for Varus. Cavallo surely cannot do his roaming style. He cannot leave Varus alone against the Nautilus Tristana, but the Nautilus Seraphine, I just don't know if it has the same power to threaten Reaper if he is left on his own, if Cavallo does want to roam. So we'll see how the Alistar wants to play this lane, if he wants to stick around for the 2v2 or keep trying to affect the rest of the map. But I think, Solari, I guess we'll pass it back to you here. The fact that it has gone Seraphine into the bot lane, do you think this is a decent use of it, or would you really like to see it mid?
Man, I was waiting to disagree with you. I love Seraphine on the bot lane so much more here than on the mid lane. First of all, because I want to see Tristana on the mid lane more than on the bot lane. But secondly, because Seraphine is a great answer into Varus. Because what Varus brings into the lane that really is so irritating for the majority of the AD carries playing against him is a lot of range and non-stop poke on the lane. It's really hard to farm against him. It's really hard to go on him. Oh, that's Southchan, by the way. What does Seraphine have in her kit? She has a lot of range. And back when she wasn't meta, she was getting picked so often because of that never-ending range that she has.
I'll pass it quickly over to you, 4x4. We're getting into the game quick, smart. We'll have to double shout out to Softchan there, in a fellow caster in the audience. But take it away, guys. Game number 3, VKS versus Liberty.
Thank you, Trajan. Thank you to all of you watching at home. The CB LOL rolls on the home stretch for these two teams. Cade Stars, they are in a precarious spot right now as far as the standings are concerned. 8 wins, 7 losses. You see it on there on the top left of your screen. Liberty, bottom feeding. They've run with this Academy roster. It was the 3rd game in a row that it has run, or 4th game in a row, I should say, and it has looked better and better. Now, they've opted for a little more late game and a little more team fight than we're used to seeing from them. But Cade Stars drafted their own little curveballs, and I'm tending to agree with you here. Grevstar, in the mid lane, Tristana just so potent. Trigo and Damage, they're going with this, the Comet for the Seraphine. I'm interested to see how she's going to be built.
Oh, she's going to be built like... I don't even know like what, but she's gonna be built very well. A lot of AP damage is what I expect to see in her kit. But that makes me wonder how Liberty are going to approach this lane, because one thing about Seraphine is that she has no escape and she is very squishy. There are not many champions that are squishier in the early levels than Seraphine. You can think of something like Zeri, Yumi obviously, but is she even a champion? Not really. But Seraphine is very punishable on the lane, especially if you have something like a Varus Alistar combination on your side. You as a jungler of Liberty now have absolutely right to not gank the bot lane as much as possible.
Yeah, and unless you've got that a beat drop or an encore to root, like you said, if you're using that defensively, something's gone wrong for Seraphine because she likes to match that poke, like you were saying. Reaper gonna be piloting the Hail of Blades. Varus, so looking for a little bit more early pressure. Cavallo with the Glacial Augment as well as damage there on the Nautilus. SKB taking the business end of some trades from Guigo's Gnar. He's looking for a bounce-back performance. 0-5 on his pocket pick win against, albeit a very strong and surging Loud roster. That was not what they were looking for, so he'll be playing a little more utility this time around. But the Ivern jungle is back. Grell, how do you feel like the Ivern helps out the composition that Cade Stars are running here?
Now, it helps the front lane, and Viva Kid Stars are going to be very reliant on their front lane. It is something that Seraphine wants to have in her team because she wants to hit Enko through her front lane. It is something that Tristana wants to have so she can bounce back and forth safely. As long as Viva Kid Stars play around the Mega Form and Guigo, this Ivern is going to be mega useful because the shielding is going to help them so much going into the team fights. There is a lot of sustainability on the side of Liberty, and in those team fights, Stars will need absolutely every single tool that will help them stay for a little longer in the fight as possible.
You're gonna get a true tank out of your Gnar is what you're saying here. SKB has a couple of stacks of the passive on him. Oh my goodness, Grell shows up into the top lane, but gets jumped on immediately trying to set up the gank. Has to burn his flash, not at all the way that they thought that was gonna go.
The one who wanted to gank is the one getting ganked in the end. That was really weird pacing from Grell, to be honest. He's only level 3, and you can see just how much he got chipped by the 2 enemies. And he knew where Drakira was. He put the bush into the cracks there. He had the understanding that there's going to be 2 enemy members on the top lane, and still he got cut out like that, and he had to invest the flash in the end. Still no kills, of course, but that's not looking too good for your Kid Stars.
Well, clearly undeterred, Grell has grabbed himself with that suboptimal recall time and grabbed himself the ring there on the way to a potential Medjay. I think we have seen the Medjay's Ivern Grell. I think I wanted that. Maybe
yes.
it was him, maybe it was Aegis. But yeah, this man plays with a lot of confidence. All gas, no brakes. We know this about Grell.
Yeah.
On the other side of things, SKB, he's burned his teleport as well as Gigo. Damage roaming up just a little bit. You see that push power that Grevthar can use with the Tristana. Damage standing on a ward. He knows that he's there. But again, pushing, roaming. That's part of what makes Tristana so powerful.
Not they're going to find anything here on the bot lane, of course, but
Nope.
it's there for the accounts, of course. And that's that's a very weird send-off right there between the bot laners, between the supports. But okay, we take it. Now, my question is, I still haven't seen Liberty being a proactive around both sides of the map, anywhere around the bot lane. And there is a first Drake coming up already. It's just the Chem Drake, so it's not the highest priority ever. But it's still the bot lane we're talking about that would like to have a little bit of in the early game, you know, especially Varus. If you get the Varus accelerated, you're allowing yourself for a very comfortable mid game, and you're allowing yourself a nice transition into the late game where your Azure, the moment he hits his items, the moment he has a hat, he's going to be unstoppable. But before that, you need to survive, and no better thing you have than Varus to do so.
Drake Hero looking for a way in, throws the sapling into the Tribe Rush, but damage is going to start the fight here. Cavallo helping Reaper get some damage down, but Reaper doesn't have a lot of mana left, and the autos just aren't hitting all that hard right now. Not able to pull off the dive, probably for the better.
Quite possibly, yeah. They will have to try again eventually, but after that, there is going to be level 6 very soon here on the bot lane, and I would be very worried about Liberty if they decide to tower dive anybody on the bot lane post level 6 available for you on Kid Stars, but Grell is again on the top lane.
This one's going to work out a lot better. They've got the numbers advantage, but Guigo has to invest a flash. Nice dodge there by SKB on the Q, and Grell can't find the kill. Neither can Vivo Cade Stars.
I'm gonna be counting exactly that. I'm gonna be counting the times that Grell is gonna be arriving to the top lane and not finding any kill whatsoever. And it's another flash invested. Second time already he comes to the top lane. Second time it's a flash burned from Kid Stars with no output whatsoever. The only thing is that there is no teleport available for SKB right now, so he has to walk all the way back to his lane. It should be a third plate for Guigo as a result of that.
Yeah, so no harm, no foul. In fact, advantage to Guigo. He does hit level 6 as well. SKB, I think level 5. Bam, there you go. Dings level 6. Such a huge power spike for the Renekton. Let's see how Drake Hero can respond. I mean, Grell, he's a level up here, and he has visited lanes more times. Drake Hero, we've seen him hovering, right? We've seen on the Maokai. He's been ready to gank, but hasn't quite found any sort of angle. But meanwhile, Grevthar just getting Perma Prio to be able to help out these objectives. Again, the Tristana, the fact that she dropped as low in the draft as she did is a surprise. Damage can't find the dredge line. Drake Hero has to burn his flash, and Kate Stars walk away with the dragon. And maybe a little something more. Cavallo and Reaper, they're hovering, shadowing. Maybe they want to pick this fight instead. It'll just be a piercing arrow out, and that will do.
Frankly, I wouldn't like them picking this fight because they are in a numbers disadvantage. There is Tristana. Azure has no way of rotating from the mid lane quickly enough to help out his teammates because they are way too far away from him, and that's still early game Azure. He only has lost chapter. There is not much situation except for shuffle somebody in which direction though, because again, he's really far away from where the fight would have happened. So it's good for Liberty that he decided to just give away this dragon, not fight it. Even the flash from Drake here, it's an unfortunate one, but it was very much needed because if only the hook landed on him and I was supposed to land the hook from damage, it would have been a dead tree.
Yeah, it would have been a dead tree. It would have been the first kill of the game. We are 8 minutes in. I feel like I've deceived the viewers. We were promised early explosive games. I had it in my notes. I had it out of my mouth and into the airwaves that we were going to get early action here. And we have gotten the CBLCK. No action through 8 minutes as far as the kills are concerned. The gold is basically dead even. One objective has been taken, and it is that first Chem Drake, like you were saying, Solari. Not the biggest priority, but it starts dragon stacking. The second one's going to feel a little bit better, a little bit more early sustain with the Ocean Soul on the cards in a little over 3 minutes. Liberty, they've got themselves some vision around the Herald, but you can see with Grell and Grevthar, the push that Grevthar is able to provide, they just get so much more priority on these objectives, truly making the mid lane are making the rest of his team's life a lot easier. Daisy summoned here, looking very delicious and very beautiful in her cupcake form, just warding off anything in the mid lane from Liberty.
I don't think she looks very delicious for Liberty right now, because as much as they would like to get a chunk of this cupcake, they cannot really go on to her. Even though they're rotating a lot of forces, they have rotated Alistar from the bot lane, they have the jungler around, they cannot rotate the AD carry because he needs to farm as much as possible right now. He's not getting any kills, so he needs to at least try to get all the farm possible. But that allows you, he starts to have a massive people's advantage, and a nice hook from Damage.
Let's get the hook there onto SKB. This is one of the rougher times to fight a Renekton at level 8, but just as I say that, SKB hasn't taken a recall in a long time. He's been sitting on that combination of items for a long, long time. So now, yes, you've got a level 8 Renekton, but the items don't really do it justice. He is not at his full potential power, and I think realizing that, they have no way to fight this. They're going to give this up uncontested.
That's already the second objective that they're giving away absolutely full free. Last time they also gave a flash in as a little bonus on top of the objective, but that is not a good sign from Liberty, because what we said about Liberty before going into this game, their mid game is not good, their late game is not good, but at least their early game is usually very strong and looks very promising. Right now, they're not delivering the early game, because with the pick that they've drafted themselves, you cannot justify them just, surviving through the laning phase. No, they need to get kills on the Renekton, they need to get kills on the Varus, they're not getting anything, and they're giving away the objectives, which makes me at least wonder a little bit about how Liberty are going to feel going into the mid game without having any priors secured before that.
Yeah, it does make you wonder, right? I mean, the objectives are going down, but eventually you think, okay, it's not like we won't have time to stack dragons, depending on what the soul is. It could be that Infernal Soul, right? We talked about it in Game 1, that if you start stacking these Infernal Dragons, all of a sudden you can find yourself back into the game. You get so much of that borrowed power. And look, they've got the Azir, they've got some playmaking tools. They can team fight really, really well with this composition. But little by little, Kadestar's inching ahead in this one, and they have kind of all the tools that Liberty do as well. Maybe not quite as much traditional scaling, but they've got it in other forms, and they've got mixed damage sources, big impactful ultimates. So when the fights do roll around, I'm very much looking forward to them. But Kadestar's looking like they're going to have the front foot on a few of these, at least so far.
I can't wait for a first big team fight, like full-on 5-on-5 team fight, because that's going to be really interesting to watch about how both teams are going to approach it. In theory, Viva Kisat want to be opting into more of a linear approach onto the enemies, but it's... Oh no, Damage.
Oh, hang on a second. Damage, you're not locked. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Here comes Piloto, gets the shove there onto Grevthar. Now he's got to head for the hill. That's a lot of damage onto the Kadestar's mid laners, and first blood for SKB, but it's traded back top laner for top laner. Grevthar down, SKB down as well, and now Kadestars have the push. They've got the momentum. Gigo got a lot of damage on him as well, but man, those Ivern shields, they do so much.
And it's not just Ivern shields, there is pretty much double shielding and healing coming in from Viva Kisat. Oh, they're still going!
Gigo, a madman trying to get the solo onto Piloto. A 3v1, that could have been disastrous, but had full confidence that Grell was going to be behind him, and that Liberty with their low health bars were not going to try to mess with him.
Oh, no, they didn't try to, not even punish him, they didn't even try to stop him or do anything to it. They just allowed him to roll around and almost get a kill, but it wouldn't have been a kill most probably, so it's fine for Liberty, not as much right now, because that is going to be the Herald release on the mid lane as well, and with the dragon up, that's probably going to be the second dragon from Viva Kisat.
Right into the tower, a couple turret plates worth of gold onto Gigo and Grell, and right back to the dragon they go. Easy as you like in the early game for Kadestar, so not really the madness that we're used to, although we have seen still the, some aggressive, interesting pathing from Grell. He's trying to impact his lanes early, even on the Ivern. So, look, but this is a little bit more of a controlled Grell than we're used to seeing. I think it's worked out a little bit better. But, at the cost of potentially, look, when Grell's on, he's on. And in Kadestar's wins, as Piloto has the EQ right out of trouble with the explosive charge on his dome. This doesn't have the big Kadestar's lead that we're looking for. Grell gonna get the business out of the Nature's Grasp. Their damage with the counter engage. Cavallo was ready to pull trigger on everything, and now Kadestars have to run. Fantastic hook by Damage. That finds Reaper. A Chain CC, Encore, beat drop. Everything onto the AD carry. He's got to head for the hills. Damage looking for the chase, but this time onto Piloto and Cavallo. He will not find it.
That could have been really, really bad for Liberty.
Yeah.
It was very close to being very bad for Liberty for a split second there, and that shows you the lack of experience of the team, because that wasn't the fight they should have taken. There was nothing to fight. Like on the top lane right now, there's nothing to fight, but they're still fighting, but that's top laners. We allow them to do it, okay? It's different lane, it's different people, they're made of different stuff. But they're on the bot lane around the Drake. Like, the Drake has already been taken. There is nothing for right now.
That is clearly not
Severin,
stopping...
Stop.
Yeah, that's not stopping anyone. Grell and Grevthar happy to take on some tower shots to get something onto Piloto, but again, it hasn't resulted in anything, but there have been a couple of questionable almost choices here. Gigo, get the boomerang down. If he gets one more auto, SKB might be history. He has to pop the Dominus. That might not be enough. Oh my goodness, gets the last bit of healing there from the Q damage. If they can pull off this dive, Gigo's gonna try to get the wave crashed. SKB smells the blood into the water. It's his own blood damage. Can he read the hook? That's a big hitbox. Nautilus hitbox needs to be dealt with. It's it's impossible to miss a hook on this champion.
It was not supposed to hit.
Oh, Piloto gonna get the easy EQ Shurima Shuffle combo, and Reaper from downtown with a Duskblade in his pocket, able to secure a kill.
Oh, it's a very happy Reaper right now. It's a very happy Varus with 1 kill already. That's everything that Varus needs from his lane. It wasn't even a lane. It wasn't a laning phase even anymore, but he gets something at least. A little bit late, but it's better late than never, right? So he gets something. We still have a 2-2. We still have the teams exchanging things with each other. And this is the Vivo Kistas that I saw the last week when they were playing against Los Grandes, yes, and that was a complete solo queue game, if you remember that. People were fighting non-stop everywhere on the map. And Grell was also very good on Ivern, by the way. It's something we have to give to him because he plays like a completely different person when he gets Ivern in his hands. But this is, again, a solo queue game because people keep fighting with each other. And sometimes there is no objective reason to be fighting. Though, right now, there is going to be some if they decide to, because 14 seconds before the Herald is going to spawn. It's the second one of the game. If Vivo Kistas get it right now, they are going to get the turret on the mid lane.
Yeah, that one is hanging on by a thread. The bot lane tier 1 has been cleared out. But yeah, K-Stars have a fantastic opportunity to break this game open right now. Grell leading the charge. He in damage. I was critical of damage for not kind of roaming as much beforehand, but on this Nautilus, he's looking like a bit of a different animal. He's using it well. Trigo, again, on this Seraphine, a bit unconventional. It's the first Seraphine we have seen all split. I think even last split we didn't see it here in Brazil. Drake Hero and company looking to start a fight. The B-drop barely catches Cavallo. The double tap there will root him in place. Herald's gonna be leashed, double TP. Solari, we might get that big 5v5 we're looking for. Here we go. Daisy has joined the party. SKB, level 11 Nautilus. That's exactly what you want. There goes the Nature's Grasp. And swiped away is the Herald by Drake Hero. Liberty have got what they wanted. They want to get out of dodge. Gigo can't catch up there. Can't get the big Meganar ult that he wants. Liberty heading for the hills, or are they? They're looking at Bush Wookie right now. The blue ward comes down. Damage calls the bluff. Encore over the top. CC chain. Not going to find his mark. Reaper throw the chains of corruption in the completely wrong direction. And Liberty will pay the iron price. They are mauled, dismembered, and gashed through the K-Stars strike big.
No way they did it! No way they lost it like that! They had everything. Liberty come in, they claim the Herald because they have a really good ultimate from Maokai going in. They turn around and they get out of the pit unpunished. That's when you need to keep going. You need to run. Why in the world do you stop there in the bush and decide to turn around? Because there have been no ultimates used by the enemy team yet. Vivo Kistas had absolutely everything. They decided to give you away the Herald, but then when you decide to stay in the bush, when you're so grouped up, finally just 3 kills for Vivo Kistas. Look at Seraphine here. Look at the Encore hitting absolutely every single person, okay, except one. But it doesn't matter because it was more than enough for them to secure kills for everybody.
I want to make a correction. I thought that Reaper put the ultimate completely wide. That was actually that like kind of twirling particle. That was still the Encore for Seraphine getting extended. So my apologies there. Reaper caught a stray from me on the broadcast for no reason. I thought you just put your ultimate the wrong direction. No, he actually had a decent ultimate, but that Encore is so huge from Seraphine. Flash forward. Gigo decides to throw a house at Cavallo. There's a cupcake involved in the mix. It's all very chaotic, but in true Vivo K-Stars fashion, they thrive in the chaos. Grevthar's jumping over barriers and putting rockets into a tree, and that is how they find 2 more kills here, Solari.
Why are they fighting? There is nothing on the map. Okay, there is a dragon. Fine, but this game. What are they doing? Especially it comes to Liberty. Oh my god, Reaper. Goodbye.
Good night, sweet prince. Trigo not able to land the beat drop, but that very generous radius there on the Q will help. Actually, Gigo get the final say as far as the kill is concerned. And little by little, Solari, this is what we were worried about with Liberty. When the mid game starts to fall apart for them, it seems like it they concede an inch and then they concede a mile. Things fall apart very, very quickly for this roster, and I think it's what you alluded to. It's just inexperience.
We have seen already Liberty when the early game goes good for them, and they lose it in the mid game because they cannot transfer all the priority that they had in the early game further on, and they don't know what to do on the map later on. So I was hoping going more and more into this game that maybe in this game they don't really have any early game whatsoever. Yeah. Maybe that's going to be an opportunity for them to show us how they can play from behind, but it looks like it is in the end coming back to this inexperience of the team because they don't know what to do. They're making major mistakes on the map right now. They could take this mid lane turret and it's going to be something because it is objective bounties, but what are they going to do after that? They are behind, and quite heavily behind. They cannot take another fight like that.
And Shelly is just way too focused on Daisy.
Daisy! I mean, she's a sweet cupcake. You cannot blame Shelly whatsoever. But I don't think I've ever seen it do that before.
That is wild. All right, new secret Brazilian 90% speedrun hack on Ivern. Drop Daisy in front of Shelly, and her attention span is like me with my ADD. I just see the shiny, and I go, "Ooh, well, that looks tasty." I know this is important right here, but this seems more fun in the short term. And yeah, and just the whole object permanence thing goes out the window.
Okay, can we go back to the serious note for a second, okay? Because this was a devastating blow for Liberty. They didn't get absolutely anything. The only good thing that happened to them so far in this game was this Herald that they secured, and they lost it because they couldn't even get the cherry, they couldn't even anything whatsoever.
Gigo doing more than scratching and clawing, bouncing over the bouncing baby. Gnar pulls the ult out of SKB, gives him an ult of his own, takes 2 tower shots and says, stick that in your juice box and suck it.
They're starting the Baron now. He has a teleport so he can join immediately. Liberty are without one. Will they dare to do anything about this Baron? To be honest, it's Liberty. They will absolutely dare to do something right now.
I mean, they've got it. The game is slipping away from them. No Baron power play, and they are 6,000 gold behind. Here comes the TP, full reinforcements in. Drink Hero sends the ult over the wall, but Grell on the Ivern will secure it, and that'll be that.
There was an attempt from Reaper to steal it away with an empowered Q, but it didn't work out. So in the end, it is a 5-man full Baron for Viva Stars, and they're going to start the siege, and they still have that Tristana, which may going to push through their stories with the empowered minions very quickly. They still have Seraphine that they can unleash absolutely anywhere where they want, and she also can split push. It is really risky for her in a normal scenario, but here when she's so ahead, the team is so ahead, she's already sitting on 2 items. I don't think she's going to be too afraid of anybody going to try and stop her.
No, you've got so much power with that pick. Again, in the early game, in the late game, you've got self-peel as well. Grefthar looking very, very good on this champion. 3, 1, and 2. And Grell, I gotta hand it to him. Sometimes on the Ivern, on things like the Sejuani, where you don't want to be hogging the kills, I understand. Sometimes it just happens. But he's 0-0-5. That is just textbook, beautiful support play. And out of Grell, that is the sort of self-discipline that we like to see. Keep the dog on a leash, and good things will happen. K-Star's playing one of the more controlled games that we've seen out of them. Yes, it's against a Liberty Academy squad, but look, this squad, they've shown against high-level competition that they know how to make things happen in the early game, and for whatever reason, K-Stars have completely nullified that. Speaking of that solo lane pressure, Solari, there goes that girl. Tristana making things happen in the mid lane, and Liberty are just powerless to stop it.
Know what to do. They completely left Tristana unattended and she cut through the mid lane. Then they decided to rotate everybody to stop her and they lost the bot lane in the process. Liberty are just so lost on the map and it is just so sad to see from them because this time they didn't even have the good early game to try to play around. Everything started going down for them very early on and they could never stop the bleeding.
And you see, I mean, just the pressure, yes, that Grefthar can provide, they're just sacking it. And with the brushes, the empowered auto attacks, the range, the poke that the Seraphine can provide, you're just too scared to get hit by a beat drop. The CC layering all over the top. There's nothing that Nature's Grasp is going to do, Drake Hero. Count your chickens because you will be losing all of them. None of them are going to hatch. The Dreadfly not going to find its mark, but damage has been clean on these. Evo K-Stars showing the clinical side here, and they just might be able to end here against Liberty.
Yeah, we have another short game before us, and they're still fighting.
Making sure that no one gets out alive. Grell finally going to pick up his first kill of the game. He says, all right, look, we've already won. Let me pad some stats here. K-Stars pick up their 9th win and inch so much closer to clinching a playoff spot. It looks spicy there for a second for the K-Stars, but they pick up a much